once this is all done, record on the backup stuff, and then I will set this up for Facebook Live.
I'm moving so you don't have to see my whole bedroom here.
Yeah. That's why I told him I'm in space because so you don't have to see my filthy house.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and pull this up here, say that we're live, and then we will go ahead and hit into this. Boom, 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 boom.
Do, do, do. Oh. Oh.
You have too much fun with the background.
Oh man, Tommy Sabazo makes his like all kinds of crazy stuff in the background. He had like, what was it, like something from Justice League in the background the last time he was on.
Something fun. Let me choose.
Huh. I just noticed that it has my wife's name under there.
You're fine. You're fine.
How's that look?
Well, you were grass now. You turned to grass.
Oh my gosh, I completely disappeared. Well, hello, that doesn't look
And then
good.
you switched sides.
Okay, back to normal. There I am.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and hit go live, and then in a couple of minutes, we're going to be rocking and rolling.
I don't know what happened to Blood. He is.
All right, for those of you that might be joining us slightly early until this is actually ready to go, we'll be going live in about 3 seconds. Make sure on here, because I always want to verify on Facebook that we are live.
Oh, he changed his name. That's what happened.
Yeah.
All right, we're good to go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Happy Hour podcast. Of course, my name's Ray. Unfortunately, tonight, Matt could not join me live. Blood could not join me live. We are going through our first major snowfall of the year here in Maryland. So for everybody's safety, we're doing everything via Zoom tonight from every end of things. And we're being joined by our very special guest. She's also known as the Pink Ranger from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Zero, and Power Rangers Turbo, Cat Sutherland. How you doing?
Hello, how are you? Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's no problem. Now with the whole Power Ranger thing, you know, you were the Pink Ranger, and I grew up with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I followed it. Actually, Turbo was where I kind of checked out with Power Rangers. How did Power Rangers come to be for you? Because we know everybody knows Amy Jo Johnson was the original Pink Ranger, and then Cat came in, you know, the whole thing with the cat, you know, all that stuff that went on, and then you just kind of followed on from there. How did all that get presented to you for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers?
Well, I was auditioning in Australia as a model and actress, and I just got an audition for a series regular role on a children's show in America, which was very exciting. I'm like, oh my gosh, my dream of moving to Hollywood is about to happen. But I had no idea what Power Rangers was at all. I just, I had no idea. But I thought it was really cool because the character was Cat. And I was like, oh, maybe this is a sign that it's meant to be mine. So I went and did an audition, like a regular scene, and then I had to do a martial arts routine. And I was a dancer, so a friend of mine who was a martial artist kind of helped me come up with something, which I'm sure will surface at some point in my life and embarrass me, but that's okay. And then my final callback was down to about 5 girls, and I met with the producer Shuki Levy. And then about 3 weeks later, he and my agent called me to tell me I was going to be moving to America. So it was a complete life changer.
And did you ever think that in a million years that Power Rangers would have the cult following that it does today? Like it's insane. Like I know one of our really good friends, and you know, Blood will probably know who I'm talking about. One of our really good friends, Chris Burns, he's a huge Power Rangers fan. He has the Dragon Zord flute brand new in the box. You know, he has the helmet, he has a couple of helmets, he has all that. So just
Jimmy Stars is a tattoo, doesn't he?
He does have a tattoo. Yeah.
Jimmy Stars, yeah.
Yeah. So the fan base with that alone is just crazy. How does all these years later, Power Rangers, let's see, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers ended in what, I think 95. So here you go, all these years later, and people still remember everything. I mean myself, I remember Goldar, Rita, Lord Zed, all that. And it's just crazy how all these years later, these conventions, how people still come out and support that franchise. How is that, going to the conventions and all that?
Yeah, it was really surprising. So, obviously when I was on the show, it was at its height. It was huge. Like when I had no idea when I came on of how big of shoes I had to fill. So I just expected it phased out. And so in 2009, I got contacted by this guy who was saying, oh, would you be interested in doing Anime Expo? And it's a convention. And I'm like, what's a convention? And he kind of explained it to me. And I said, what are you contacting me for? Like, for what show or what? And he goes, Power Rangers. And I said, that's still on? And he goes, oh yeah. And I was so shocked. So I showed up, and I think I had one picture that he made for me, because I'm like, what am I supposed to bring? I had no idea. And there was just lines of people. It was crazy. And I couldn't believe they remembered me, and that there was still such a fan, and it was such a wide variety of age groups, from my age to down to little kids. So I think the show just really was very unique in that it was colorful, it was fast-paced, it was diverse. It just appealed to a lot of different people. There's someone could connect with somebody in our show at some point. There was the nerd, there was the fun girl, the jock, the ballet girl, there was someone that someone could connect to in our show. And so I think it's that's why it's had such longevity. But even the little kids, when we're at conventions, they remember our seasons. They want to know the original people. They don't really, they're not that interested in the latest seasons, which is kind of strange.
Yeah, like I sit there and I look at some of the newer stuff, and I'm just kind of like, I mean, I don't know. Like, and even with me, like some of the costumes for some of the current run series, I'm just kind of like, it doesn't look right. But then when you go back and you look at Mighty Morphin and the costumes that they had, and you look at even Zeo and Turbo, I remember you guys had the ninja outfits.
Yeah,
those were cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are my favorite.
Yeah,
the Ninjetti was my favorite too. They were the most comfortable for sure.
And the ninja outfits, those were in the, if I'm wrong, those were the Turbo movie, correct? That you got.
That was Mighty Morphin. So
okay.
Powers in the movie, the first movie, and then we had it in season 3 of Mighty Morphin.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't remember how that worked out, because I remember that in the movies they had them, but also but I couldn't remember which movie. And speaking of the movie, especially the one with Ivan Ooze,
that was cool.
That was super fun, and the costumes in that looked really
amazing. Yeah, they said, so I wasn't in the first movie, I was just in Turbo, but they was telling me, Karen has said many times that those suits weighed about 30 pounds.
Oh,
so
wow.
they were very uncomfortable to be in, and they were also made of like a rubber material, so they were very hot and very heavy, and so they couldn't wear them for very long. But the poor stunt guys had to wear them all the time.
Now, with the show, when you guys did a lot of the recording and the costumes with the helmets on and all that, how long were you guys in the costumes with the helmet and all that? And did that get kind of exhausting after a while? Because you had your scenes where you had the helmets off and you're holding them in your hands.
Yeah.
But then there's scenes, was that mainly you guys? Was that mainly the stunt people? How?
So they only wore the suits and helmets very briefly in Mighty Morphin. Then they realized very quickly that they could shoot a lot more footage if they had a second unit team.
Okay.
So we always had stunt people, but they started utilizing that. We used to call them the helmet heads. So the helmet heads were filming simultaneously to when we were filming. So anytime you see helmets, it was always stunt people. And if you look at the footage, you can see that it's a man. It's not my body. It's definitely a man. So they were really the stars to me of the show, because they were phenomenal. They made us look really good. And then in Zeo, we didn't do any fight scenes at all. There was so many. We had done so many PSAs about kids hitting each other and stuff that they took that away from us. So if you look at Zeo, there is no out of suit fighting at all.
Really?
And then in Turbo, they started to introduce it a little bit again. So.
And for you, which one do you think was your favorite to do? Was it Mighty Morphin, Zeo, or Turbo?
That's like Sophie's choice. I loved Mighty Morphin because I loved that I got to be evil, and I loved my whole arc of how I became the Pink Ranger. That was really fun. And I'm really grateful to be part of the original series because I think that has a lot of nostalgia. I loved Rita and Zed and the whole thing.
That was my favorite.
Yes, me too. But I loved Zeo because I really got to my character really evolved in Zeo. So I feel like I didn't have to share that with anybody. That was my season. And I thought the storylines were really good in Zeo. We had really good writers for Zeo. And then Turbo, I really enjoyed, I felt like it was a little bit more of a mature version of the Power Rangers. We were a little bit older. I loved, even though Justin was a controversial character, I loved the dynamic between me and him. I was like his big sister. I liked a lot of those storylines. So it felt like it had a lot of heart to it. So that I loved them all for different reasons.
Now, when you went from Mighty Morphin to Zeo to Turbo, did you guys know that the arc was going to go over, or was that just kind of something that Mighty Morphin ended, and then they were like, "Hey, we have this idea for Zeo. Do you guys want to do it?" Or did you guys know in advance when Zeo was going to happen that it was going to become Power Rangers Zeo into Turbo? And
we had Alien Rangers in between. So.
Yeah, and I saw that. I forgot. I was like, where did I miss that?
We got shrunk into kids, and then the kids were working with the Alien Rangers, and that was really just to give us a break because especially the not me as much, but the cast had been filming, then the movie, then filming, and they just needed a break. So they did that, and in that time, while Alien Rangers was happening, they had told us, obviously we were continuing with the show, but the costumes, they'd run out of footage, so they had to now do O-Ranger costumes, and so that's how that happened. And same thing, you run out of footage for Zeo, then we went into Car Ranger. So, yeah.
And with
all about the footage.
what was your favorite Zord out of the three? Which do you think, if you had to pick a Zord in real life, which one do you think you would have picked?
Well, I loved the Crane, but I think the Falcon Zord would probably be my favorite. I just loved that. I mean, I did get to pilot the Falcon Zord with Tommy once, but I liked the Crane, my Crane Zord, and the Falcon Zord probably. The rest, I mean, in Zeo, I think I was a foot, and in Turbo, I think I was a head or something. I was boring in those scenes.
Just a damn foot.
I don't
really.
Yeah.
Me and Nakia, the girls, were like the feet. I'm like, well, we were the foundation of the.
That's a nice way to look at it.
Yes.
Of course, we are on Facebook Live, so anybody watching us live, feel free to comment. Catherine, she's here with us live. Anybody listening at home on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and anywhere else where you find your podcast, make sure you tune in a week early on our official Facebook page. We exclusively go live every single week with our guests a week early. Now, Catherine, with Power Rangers, did you ever sit there and think, what it would have been like if you were a different color? Now, we know with the new movie that they had out, they kind of mixed, and over the series that they mixed colors around a little bit for who was who. Was there ever an instance where, you thought, hey, maybe if I go to Zeo or Turbo, I might be the Yellow Ranger, or vice versa? Was any of that ever discussed with any of that kind of stuff?
No, I was always pink. There was never any changing of the colors. I don't look good in yellow either. So. Yeah, Karen and Nakia definitely pulled off yellow way better than I could.
And speaking of Nakia, you're starting a podcast, or you're already doing a podcast with Nakia, correct?
We launch our podcast tomorrow, actually. It's
awesome.
Called Super Chat with Cat and Nakia. And her and I we just love to talk about all kinds of stuff. So we thought, why not make it a podcast and we can record it for people? So our first episode is called Coping with COVID. So we talk all about that, but it's a little bit more of a personal insight into how we feel about certain situations. We talk about friendship, and we talk about Hollywood. We talk about what's going on in the world, and it's about 25 minutes usually.
Oh, wow.
We'll have a new episode every week, and sometimes we have guests on, but it's fun. I mean, she's my best friend. It's just so fun getting to work with her. and bring love and joy to people in this horrible time.
Oh, and of course, Nakia, she's going to be on our show in 2 weeks. So next week will be, our good friend Blood, who's joining us tonight. Unfortunately, he's leaving town, so we will be doing a farewell episode for him next week, special 2-hour episode. And then after that will be Nakia, who will be joining us on the Happy Hour podcast. Now, we do have a question from a fan. Adam Joshua Meeks asks, would you ever do a cameo in any of the new series like Jason David Frank or Austin St. John has?
I actually did a cameo in Ninja Steel. The episode, I believe, was called Danger in the Dimensions or something like that. Dimensions of Danger, something like that. But yes, I came back with 8 of my other Power Ranger seasons.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
So that was fun. But I think if I was to return again, I would want it to be a bit more about like serving justice to my character a little bit more, because I was really just it was really like a cameo, like,
Yeah.
there's Cat.
Right.
Oh, exciting.
Right.
So
You wanted more than just a foot.
yeah. I'd love to come back as a mentor, or come back and as a parent to one of the newer Rangers or something like that. That would be
And
fun.
I thought about that when the new movie came out. I was like, it would have just been
Yeah.
awesome if, the old school Rangers, were mentoring a new crew of Rangers. Like, hey, and just bringing it on and all that. And another thing
The guy who played Jason's dad in the movie,
Okay.
he
Yeah.
looked like Austin. I
Oh,
thought
yeah.
they could have had Austin as the dad. Like, that would have been so fun, So I don't know.
And of course, with Mighty Morphin, you guys had Alpha 5. How was it on set? How did they do all that? With now, it looked like it was an actual guy in the costume. And how was that? Because I can't imagine he saw out of that helmet really good. Like, I feel like when he would go like that was him legitimately just trying to gain vision, as he was doing everything.
Yeah, it was actually a female. When I was working it, her name was Doe.
Okay.
In several alphas, but all of them were female, little petite women, and they really couldn't see. They were like guided onto the set, and they would say, you can walk in this area, like you're safe in this area, but she would run into things sometimes. But yeah, it was a woman.
And what do you think was your most complicated role, most complicated part you've had throughout the whole involvement you've had with Power Rangers?
I think there was some times where the environment or the conditions were not the best, like freezing cold, windy, and having to wear little shorts, and or stinking hot, steaming, like fry an egg on the desert floor, and we had to be in our suits. So yeah, stuff like that. I had to jump off a cliff a couple of times, and I sprained my ankle once. So there was a few things like that, but overall, I mean, I really have mostly positive memories. It was just really fun, and such a short time of my life, but such a monumental part of my life.
And as we know, you also had a role in the movie The Cell.
Mm-hmm.
How did that spark from Power Rangers itself, or was that just something once you were done with Power Rangers, you just started looking around for other roles and came across it?
When I finished Power Rangers, I was under a visa, so I could only work for Saban. I wasn't able to work for anybody else. So it was a difficult transition going from being a series regular and then having to get my green card and figure out how to now support myself as an actor in Hollywood. So I got an agent and I started auditioning and did a bunch of commercials and stuff. And then The Cell was just a regular audition. I had to do a scene of me in the cell, crying and everything. It was so fun. And yeah, that was an amazing experience, working on that set. I just can't say enough. The director was amazing. I really got to play around. There was a lot of things that we shot that were not used in the movie, but it was an amazing experience.
And then also, Blood, didn't you see something earlier about some voiceover work? What was that?
Oh,
Yeah.
I saw you were in the PlayStation Pitfall.
That was actually my first job after Power Rangers.
Really?
I got SAG, Screen Actors Gilded through that job.
Oh, nice.
Partly, yeah. It was I played Mira in Pitfall Harry, and Bruce Campbell was Harry.
Oh, nice, nice. Bruce
Yeah.
Campbell's awesome.
He's hilarious. He's
Is that
I've
is that
never
different?
seen,
Like,
I've
Toy
never
Story
seen the
or-
game. Have you played it?
Oh, I
'Cause I've
played
never-
it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, is it
I
fun?
played-
I've never seen it.
Yeah,
No?
I played it. It's been a while. It's been a while though.
Yeah, I had the original PlayStation. I had Pitfall.
That's so cool.
It's funny because technically it was the Pitfall remake because the
Oh,
original Pitfall was on, I think, Atari.
Yeah.
And then they remade the new Pitfall, which was the one that you were in. And I never even knew Bruce Campbell did it because it was so long ago. And he mentioned something to me. I'm like, definitely bring that up because that, I need my memory refreshed on that.
I'm sure the graphics are horrible compared to what they are now, but
Oh,
it
yeah.
was really fun it was fun to record it. I enjoyed it.
Honestly, something like Pitfall might be fun on the Oculus. That might
Yeah.
be something that you do in virtual reality. That would be really fun. playing.
That would be fun. That would be fun.
We'll probably die a lot.
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
I'm horrible at video games. My son's amazing, and he has an Oculus. I got him an Oculus for Christmas, and I was like, I want to try Beat Saber. I was so excited, and I couldn't get past the first 3 seconds. I'm terrible. Terrible.
Well, it's funny because now we have all these games that are really a lot harder to play now. And then not too long ago, I went back and I played Sonic. And I'm like, oh man, Sonic. I love Sonic. And I couldn't make it past the first 2 levels. I turned off the system. I'm like, no, I'm not doing this. And my wife, she recently bought the Spyro trilogy. So they remade Spyro and that came out. And she was playing that. I'm like, I can't, like, when I go back to old games, it's weird to me now.
Yeah. Well, what do you play, like strategy games like Call of Duty and things like that?
I mainly do a lot of sports games. So
Oh, okay.
sports games, stuff like Red Dead Redemption. I don't really get a lot of time with games. So, but when I do, it's probably baseball 90% of the time. But
Okay.
also, Power Rangers had their own games. I
Yes.
forgot all about that. They had, I think it was regular, they had Sega Genesis and they had Super Nintendo. Now,
Yes.
was that just Mighty Morphin, or I'm not sure if any of you guys remember, did Zeo or Turbo also have?
I think
games as
Zero, but not Turbo. And
Okay.
then they have a new game. There's a new version of the Power Rangers game that you can choose all of the different seasons.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
apparently my Pink Zeo is really strong in the game. So
Out of all the toys,
Yeah.
what was that, Blood?
So I'd like to see, how they're bringing people in Mortal Kombat. Let's see some Power Rangers in Mortal Kombat.
yeah,
That'd be cool. That'd be
Beat
really
down.
cool.
Maybe not as bloody, but
Yeah.
kind of gory with Mortal Kombat. Yeah.
Of course, they had all kinds of toys that were out. Like you name it, people got it, and especially Mighty and I know because I do a lot of reselling stuff. Mighty Morphin Power Ranger stuff, very, very hard to find items. If you go around looking at it, you're going to pay a fortune looking, even if it's Zeo, anything like that. I'm sure you probably at conventions, people have probably bought you toys, have bought you all kinds of stuff to sign. What
Yes.
do you think you saw that was the coolest thing that you think, like some of the things that you've signed at some of the conventions that people brought in? And
Oh yeah.
Good.
Well, some of them make their own stuff, which is pretty amazing as well. Like we have some really talented fans. I just signed something last week that I had never seen, and it was the Command Center, like from
wow.
back in the 90s.
really,
It was so cool, and it had all the little mini Rangers too, and it had Alpha. It was really awesome. So that was pretty cool. I think it's worth a lot of money because it hadn't been opened. It was completely like as it was from the 90s.
Yeah, crazy. I never knew that existed, and I had all the original toys.
Yeah. And then all of the legacy stuff, like the new legacy Zeomorphers, the legacy dagger, the Green Ranger dagger. I've seen the Saba. I don't know if you guys saw, I have a new legacy metallic Pink Ranger came out.
Okay.
That has.
I remember the metallic
more
pink
like
one.
me than the original toys. They were terrible. So yeah, there's a lot of really cool stuff out there. The legacy stuff is really nice because, to be honest, when we were on the show, we were using the toys that you guys played with. So the legacy toys that they have now are like way better than the props we used on the set.
Yeah. And it's funny because you had the head flippers too. So you had all the head flippers that would always flip the heads. And
Oh, I had those. I had
Megazords
those.
were just crazy. You would stick them together, but God forbid if a little teeny tiny piece broke off on one of those, Megazord want to stay together. Like if one piece was gone off, it would just topple right down. And you know, what do you think with Power Rangers? And you did a lot of episodes. What villain do you think stands out the most in your mind that you saw on screen?
It has to be Rita. Rita is classic.
Yeah.
And then I loved Rita and Zed together. I thought they were really funny. And I love Diva Talks, actually. I thought she was a great villain. She was so sassy and complaining and fun. And
For some reason, I like Goldar a lot. Like, and he just kind of transcended, with a lot of stuff. And then another one that they made a lot of toys of, but I feel like you didn't see him as much in the show was Spinks. And I remember they had he was right towards the beginning, and they manufactured the toys for a while, but you didn't really see a lot of Spinks. And I thought he originally started off, I believe, as one of Rita's henchmen, kind of like Goldar. But then, I think he was just in season 1, and then you didn't see much of him anymore. And then of course we had the putties, and that was always fun. And you had the putties at, what was it? What season was it when you hit the emblem on their chest? And they just pretty much exploded or disintegrated.
Yeah, that was season 1 and 2. So when I came on, by the time I came on in season 3, they had the Tengas, the birds.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the birds.
Yeah, I remember the bird because the birds, I believe, were introduced in the movie with Ivan Ooze. Yeah. And then from that, they were there. And that, I remember the first couple of seasons kind of right off the back of my head, and then it just kind of gets blurry after that. Yeah. And it's just crazy, some of the villains that they had, and you would sit there and there were just so much potential for toys, and everything just kept on rolling out and rolling out and rolling out and rolling out.
What a shame I didn't get a piece of those toys.
So that was another question I was going to ask was, did you guys get any kind of anything for the toys or anything like that?
Not one. They can still use my face to make toys to this day, and I get nothing for that.
That's a bummer.
That's even for the one that just came out, the metallic and all.
Nothing. No, but you know what? I look at conventions as our residuals.
Yeah.
Because that's been such a gift to be able to do conventions and meet fans and sign things, and so we do fine, and they could shut us down very easily because we have pictures with us in our suits and stuff, but they don't. So I'm grateful. I mean, we're like a walking advertisement.
That's cool. But your weapon of choice was the bow, right, in the show?
Yes.
If I was on set, I'd be like, well, I'm taking this. This is mine.
They have those things on lockdown.
Okay. Now, how were the weapons? Were the weapons heavy? Were they pretty light? Like, because I feel like in the
plastic.
I feel like in the first, they looked a lot better than what they do now. Like now you look at them, you're like, oh, that's plastic. It's not real. But in the, Zeo, Turbo, all that, you looked at the weapons and they looked more defined. And I was like, I wasn't sure if they were using editing or what it was, or just how they made the weapons. The weapons looked a little bit more believable. But I guess as time went on.
Well, that's because it was Japanese footage.
That's right.
So the Japanese footage probably did have really nice stuff, but when we were doing our morph sequences or anything like that, it was all the toys that you guys were playing with.
And what we're going to do real quick is we're going to take a really quick break, and we're going to get a word from some of our sponsors, play a song, and we will be right back.
All right.
If you're watching live, we're going to get right back into this because we just needed to do a little cut for our editing for next week. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Happy Hour podcast. Of course, I'm Ray. I'm here with Matt. I'm here with Blood. And we are here with the former Pink Ranger, Catherine Sutherland. And what I'm going to do real quick is normally whenever we come back from our breaks, I do the beer of the week. So the beer of the week this week, of course, we have the Pink Ranger on. So I found myself a pink can. And this is by, this is by Heavy Seas Brewery. And it's called Sunburn. And
I've had that.
Sunburst. What?
Yeah, it's called Sunburst, and it's sour ale with raspberry and lemon. And the description on the can
sounds good.
Is fearless, bold, and independent. And it says, when vacation is just a memory and the fireworks have faded, it's still going to be hot. Cool down with a bright burst of raspberry, lemon sunshine, sunburst. Sour ale has the perfect balance of sweet and tart. with a light malt base that's 100% summer. So if you're out, make sure you grab yourself some Sunburst. I like it. And then, of course, since this episode's airing later on into February, we have a brand new shot of the month. And unfortunately, since Matt's not here, since Blood's not here, I'm going to be doing the shot of the month by myself, which new shot of the month is 88 proof Polo Club Gin. So I'm going to go ahead, pop this open, and I am not looking forward to this at all.
Cheers.
Yeah. So I saw this. Let me go ahead and pour this, and I'm going to try not to drop this because I know if I do, Blood will probably drive here in the snow and kill me. Because
Is that blue?
What's that?
Is it blue?
No, it's clear. It's clear.
Oh.
The bottle's blue though. So here, let's see. So all right. So here we go. Let's see what we have here. You guys, if this kills me, I love everybody listening at home.
Woohoo!
Oh. All right. So
It's definitely gin.
cleanse your soul. Go out and get some Polo Club gin. Oh man. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna get into our Ode to Humanity segment. So Catherine, we told you a little bit about this before we started. Pretty much our Ode to Humanity segment. What we're gonna do is we're gonna start off with 5-second rule. Have you played 5-second rule before?
No.
So pretty much I'm gonna say name 3 of something, and then you have 5 seconds to guess. And if you don't get it, it'll go to Blood, then it'll go to Matt, then it'll go to me. Everybody gets it. It doesn't go around.
That's a lot of pressure.
So what we're gonna do?
I have to name 3 things in 5 seconds.
Yep,
Okay.
three of whatever card in 5 seconds. So
And they cannot be repeated.
yeah, we cannot repeat the same answer more than once.
Oh
So
Lord,
yeah. So what we're gonna do,
never done this, right?
Catherine, we're gonna start with you. Name 3 U.S. state capitals starting now.
He's from Australia. It's not fair.
All right. So Blood, it's gonna go to you. Name 3 U.S. state capitals starting.
I can't think of any capitals. Annapolis.
So Annapolis is out. Annapolis is off the docket. So Matt, it comes to you. 3 U.S. state capitals
Annapolis, right?
now.
All right, Salt Lake City, Richmond.
Salt Lake City and Richmond are out, which you took 2 of mine. So now I am going to try. So I'm going to go ahead, and if we don't get it, then it's just a failed round. Nobody wins this week. So what I'm going to go and do is go ahead and turn this Albany. Philadelphia.
Yeah, fucked up.
All right. So this week there is no winner on 5-second rule. Of course, that was a hard one, but I randomly draw all these out of the box. So what we're going to do next,
I was gonna say
I
Phoenix.
demand a recount.
everybody demands recounts nowadays.
I was gonna say Phoenix. Is Phoenix the capital of Arizona?
See, that's the thing. Like,
I don't know.
I don't know.
Is it Flagstaff or Phoenix? I don't know.
It might be Flagstaff.
I think it might be.
I'd have been wrong.
But that's the thing. It's like now we're thinking of them kind of easier. But when you sit there and you have 5 seconds, you're just kind of like, oh no, oh no, oh no, 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 no. So
No, you could have given me half an hour. I don't know.
what we're going to do now is we're going to get into our game called Incoherent. And the reason why it's called Incoherent is incoherent. So pretty much I'm going to hold up a card, and it's going to be, you're going to pronounce it the way you would say it if you drank that whole entire bottle of gin that I just drank. And then you need to figure out what the term is on the card. And there's also a couple of hints. So if you can't get it right off the back, I can give you a couple of hints, and you have 1 minute to try to figure out what is on the card. So I'm going to go ahead and hold that up, and then I'm going to go ahead and do the timer. And I always tell people, say it as fast as you can and say it to yourself over and over again. And then you can try to figure out what it is.
Dang or dong? Dang. Dang. Yeah, dang.
Six dang.
Are you allowed to guess?
Yeah.
Yeah,
16?
No.
No, but you're close. You're close with what you were saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
I'm trying to sound drunk. Zig dang. Zig dang.
Sex thing.
What did you say, Matt?
That's sex thing.
Zig dang.
Sexy thing.
You and Matt both are close. Actually,
Okay.
Matt depending on how Matt said it, Matt might have had it.
Six bang.
Understand what he was saying though.
He said six bang.
Oh no. No. All right, would you like a hint?
Yes.
Snapchat.
Texting.
Oh,
Yes.
sex.
Yes.
Yeah.
Blood got it, sexting.
Well done. The quiet one. He knew.
And then what we're going to do is, Catherine, have you ever heard about Cards Against Humanity?
Yes.
Okay, so you know what you're getting yourself into with Cards Against Humanity. You can't do Ode to Humanity without Cards Against Humanity. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and read off the black face card. And then what you're going to do is I'm going to give you 4 options, and you're going to choose whichever one you think best matches that card. And also we'll go ahead and say which ones we think match the card as well also. So this card is, in his new self-produced album, Kanye West raps over the sounds of blank. And your options are child beauty pageants, racial profiling,
Oh,
these breasts of mine,
These
and
breasts.
the end of all life on earth. Which one would you say would answer that?
I like the what was the childhood one? The child beauty pageant.
Child beauty pageants. So Blood says in his new self-produced album, Kanye West raps over the sound of child beauty pageants. And Catherine, she's like, what did I?
What did I walk into here? Oh my gosh. Can you read them again?
Yes. These are child beauty pageants, the end of life, all life on earth, these breasts of mine, or racial profiling.
These breasts of mine. I just think
Nice. And I think I would go with the end of life on all of earth. And Matt, what would you choose for that?
these breasts of mine. I mean, that makes sense.
And Catherine, we appreciate you taking part in our twisted games. Sorry if that might have been a little bit awkward, but you know, we try to do that with all of our guests, and it always ends up being really, really fun.
so good fun.
And what is there anything that you have coming up? You know, anything TV, movie wise? You know, we know you have the podcast coming up. Is there any other projects you have coming up, event wise? You know.
Yeah, I have. Well, Nakia and I also have a YouTube channel called Power Rangers Playback. We have membership available. We do all kinds of fun things. I actually have a really funny skit. Like, we came up with these funny characters. I don't know if you've ever seen.
I think I saw it on your Facebook. Yeah.
Yeah. So my character is Negative Nancy, and she's basically the antithesis of me. She's absolutely hideous. So that's coming out on Wednesday. We have our podcast releasing tomorrow. I have a project. I'm doing a reality show project with a couple of people, which we're hoping gets made soon. I'm still writing. Legend of the White Dragon. We're supposed to be filming that soon. Which is Jason David Frank's project.
Cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Like an adult, like updated universe, Power Rangers universe kind of thing.
Oh,
It's really
nice.
Yeah, it's amazing how much in that atmosphere he still is. Like, you see anything you see with Jason David Frank, he's totally Power Rangers everything. It's crazy.
He's an amazing businessman, but he's made a career and a lifestyle out of Power Rangers. Like, that character, it's ridiculous when we're at a convention with him. I mean, he has bigger lines than any of the Marvel people. It's crazy. He's got such a huge following. That character, for some reason, just really resonated with a lot of kids.
Yeah, the Green Ranger was my favorite.
Yeah, it was a really good story.
Yeah, he had a very good storyline. Everything was
like the outsider and the evil. Yeah, it's so anyway. Yeah, so there's that thing. And then and that's, I think, pretty much it. I'm a homeschool teacher, to add that into my resume now.
Oh, cool.
Oh, with COVID and everything. Huh?
Yes, COVID homeschool teacher. Yes. And
My
Uber
wife does that
driver
too.
Yeah.
And of course, speaking of Jason David Frank, it was actually, I was thinking about this earlier when we were talking about it. Actually, when your character was introduced, I'm not sure through Zeo, Turbo, or even Mighty Morphin if there were any two other Rangers that started off evil that,
Yeah.
became good. The only two that I recall throughout the beginning in those series was Jason David Frank and yourself.
Yeah.
And that's kind of cool. And then they made you guys pretty compatible on the show as well, which also, was kind of cool. You're like, oh man, these, how those two started off, and then, their storyline where that went, in the show was, cool how they mapped all that out as well.
Yeah. I have bittersweet feelings about that because I think it made sense, but it also wasn't necessary. And Kimberly and Tommy was such a item, and it was such a thing. And I think that kind of did my character a bit of disservice that she was paired up with Tommy. But I understand why they did that because the Pink Ranger was always paired up with the leader. But I don't know if it was necessary.
Yep. I mean, I don't know how necessary it was, but like being the Pink Ranger, I think for me at least growing up, I think like the story between all that kind of, as a young boy, that from man to, from boy to man kind of thing, like it kind of, resonated with me a little bit,
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
And if I could be honest, I liked you a lot better than the other Pink Ranger anyways.
Everyone has their favorites. Did you understand what I was saying though? Like, was my accent confusing?
Not at all.
Not at all. Not at all. Not the least littlest bit. But so where can everybody find you? Of course, you have your podcast, you have Facebook, Instagram. Where can everybody, find you if they want to look you up or reach out to you with all that?
I have a website, catherinesutherland.biz. I'm very active on Instagram. So my Instagram is Catherine_Sutherland. I have Catherine Sutherland Official on Facebook, but I don't go on Facebook a lot, to be honest, especially I've kind of boycotted them a little bit. And then I have Nakia and I have our Power Rangers Playback on YouTube, Super Chat with Cat and Nakia on any podcast platform. We're actually going to do a giveaway for the release of our podcast. So if you subscribe on Apple and review and rate 5 stars, we will be doing a giveaway over the next couple of weeks. So please subscribe.
And we, of course, we also do giveaways on the show too for anybody listening or watching at home, exclusively on our Facebook. We always do Guess the Guess, which, Catherine was the first that we did that with, and somebody won a Happy Hour podcast t-shirt out of that. So, yeah,
congratulations.
So, it's always fun doing stuff like that. And that also makes me ask with the Power Rangers Playback, what all are you guys gonna be having on that? Is it gonna be playback to the show? What kind of content are you gonna have on that?
It's been on. We started it in February last year. So our goal originally was to just do watch episodes and talk about what it was like on the show, like do a review kind of a thing.
Okay, cool.
Commentary.
Yeah, like a commentary, exactly. But we were getting so many copyright claims from Toei.
Really?
They have all the Japanese footage, and so we had to kind of come up. We were like, we need to come up with other ideas. So we have a game show called Who Knows It Best, which is like a trivia game show. We have a cook-off where we go against people and do we actually started with doing recipes from Ernie's Juice Bar and trying to put our own take on it, which was kind of fun.
That's
but
cool.
with COVID, that kind of slowed things down. And then we do live interviews with all different Power Ranger guests, and we do what else do we have? Oh, we do the skits, and then we have a favorite things episodes where we explore some of our favorite things to do. So it has a lot of content on there, and we just love it. It's been so fun. So
that sounds amazing. And everybody watching at home, make sure you check out Power Rangers Playback. Make sure you check out Catherine and Nakia's podcast that's coming up. Of course, Nakia is going to be on in 2 weeks. Catherine, we appreciate it. We thank you. We know you had a lot of stuff going on when we first connected with you. Everybody at home couldn't see it, but you were in your car. You're like, oh man, I have so much stuff going on. Yeah, we appreciate it for being on the Happy Hour podcast. Just real quick, before you go, would you be able to just say, this is Catherine Sutherland, the Pink Ranger, and you're listening to Happy Hour Podcast?
Of course.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. This is Catherine Sutherland, the Pink Ranger from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and you are listening to the Happy Hour Podcast.
Awesome. Thank you, Catherine. We appreciate it. Blood, Matt, if you guys can hang out for a couple minutes longer, and well, we're all good. Thanks, Kat.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 All right, guys. So that was Catherine Sutherland, the Pink Ranger from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Of course, our games, some people are a little thrown off by them, but it happens. What I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to get over, for those of you still watching at home, for those of you still listening, we still have about probably another 5 minutes or so before, we're going to leave you guys on the airways. I just want to let Kat, go ahead and get back to her stuff. Next week, we will be having a very special 2-hour episode. We normally don't do extended episodes, but as I said before, our good friend Blood, he's moving out of state. So we're throwing him a War Pigs 4 wasn't supposed to be retro and happen this quick, but now War Pigs 4, which is going to be titled War Pigs 4 Into the Sunset. That's going to be me, Socrates, and Blood. And, Blood, I'm not going to tell you what they are, but there's a couple of surprises that we have, for the podcast next week. Probably, what it is, a couple people that are going to be dropping in, while the podcast is going on, and, a couple people that we're going to be talking to and all that. So that should be pretty fun. And then, of course, 2 weeks out, we will be talking to Nakia from the same show with Catherine, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. She was Yellow Ranger and Zeo and Turbo. So she will be on. And then, of course, Teespring, we will be releasing a very special design shirt for Teespring, our new logo. We always do logos for everything going on. So we have a logo for Black History Month. We will be releasing a t-shirt that goes along with that coming up on our Teespring. And also what I'm wearing right here is this Playboy Bobby Star t-shirt, which I had custom done. Bob saw it. And, this just goes to show how awesome of a guy Bob Star is he pretty much told me, hey, just send me one of the shirts, but you guys can legally go ahead and release the shirts if you want on your Teespring. And because you guys are keeping me relevant. So that's pretty cool. So within the next couple of months, I'm going to try to get this logo duplicated so we can have it added to our Teespring stuff. And the Bobby Star t-shirts will be Happy Hour Podcast exclusives that will be on our Teespring for everybody that will be available to purchase. So,
Great.
What's up?
I'm going to need you to design a Bob Star hoodie with a mullet on the red, a red mullet on the hood.
Everybody's fucking cool.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
That's brilliant.
Or what it should be is it should be one of those ones that zippers up over your face, but it's Bob's.
Yes.
That's on the hoodie. And then when you unzip it, you unzip down the mullet, and it just kind of, I meant to ask her, they have those Power Ranger hoodies where you have like the helmet that zips up over your face. That's those.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, gentlemen, I appreciate you guys joining me. We have a blizzard going on outside. And of course, we all know we're wrestlers, we're wrestling fans. The Royal Rumble is happening right now. And, stuff happens. You got to accommodate your guests. So guys, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. Everybody, thank you for tuning in to the Happy Hour Podcast. We will be live next week on Facebook Live at 2 p.m. from the EWA Pain Factory for Blood Send-Off. 2-hour special episode for those of you listening. That will be next week. War Pigs 4, Off Into the Sunset. For Matt, for Blood, this is Ray. Thank you for joining us on the Happy Hour Podcast. We will see you guys next week. All right, so go ahead.